You can't be gone for a week and not provide lighting and water. Hello, and welcome to Kim's Cozy Corner. I'm Kim, and I have been gone for a full week, completely gone, away from my indoor grow space, away from my outdoor grow space, and I got some things that's not looking so good. When I go out of town, and I travel about 50% of the time for business, and when I'm traveling, I try to set myself up for success. I try to make sure everything's watered in really well in my indoor grow space here behind me. I try to make sure that everything's the way it needs to be. Timers are on for lights and everything else. The only thing that I can't always get right is my watering. And so I left my family in charge of making sure everything gets watered. And I'm in the basement. And so in the basement, there's no reason for anybody to come down here unless they're specifically coming down here to take care of my plants. And so they came down on Wednesday. And that's after I had already been gone for 4 days. They gave everything a good watering, and they didn't come down again. And then I got back and I checked in on everything. And honestly, in my indoor grow space, for the most part, everything was okay. Except I did have one tray, just one, that looked like this. Now, in order for a tray to look like that, it didn't get watered. It hadn't been watered for a week. And so, somewhere in the watering on Wednesday, this one tray was missed. I went away for a week and came back to this. My mother watered everything except for this tray. And most of my paste tomatoes are in here. I lost some greens. I'm not really concerned about those or the lettuce, but I've lost my tomatoes. I will be replanting all of these cells of my paste tomatoes and my cherry tomatoes. That's okay. I think I have more seeds. We will get those replanted. We still have plenty of time. And in this tray here, as you can see in the picture that I have right here, these are my tomatoes, and there's some lettuce in there, and there's some leafy greens. Mustard greens are the greens that are in there. Now, I don't know if I can save them. So I added some water to this container to see if I could perk those tomato plants back up. Some of them I think are just too far gone. So I went ahead and started some new ones. So in all of these containers right here, these 3 containers were the ones that didn't get watered for a week. And so I added water to the container to see if I could save them. And honestly, this container, they're perking back up. These tomatoes might make it. These other 2 containers is not looking good. But I replanted all of these tomatoes, and I started them right here, just beside it. We will see if these come back. If not, I've already started another round, so I don't lose out on those tomatoes. And of course, you know, if I started another round, I started a couple more that I hadn't planned on planting. Just in case, you never know, something may be going wrong with the other tomatoes. But this is one day after getting back and finding everything dead and dried up like this right here, putting some water on these, and these are already starting to perk back up. So we'll see what happens. But just wanted to share with you that, you know, hey, when you're away from your garden, it's very special times of the year, like seedling time, it makes a difference. Watering absolutely makes a big difference on your plants. In addition to the watering issue, on just this one tray, I only had one tray that had an issue with watering, but I had another problem. And I will share with you the clip of that problem now. These are my transplants that I had upstairs getting ready to put them outside. So they were upstairs to be hardened off. And you can see quite a bit of yellowing on the plants here. My onions have kind of just laid over because they did not receive enough sunlight for the last week. Now this tray right here is sitting on the floor because I didn't have room on the table. It has some yellowing, but not as bad as the yellowing here of the ones that I have on this table. Now this table sits in a really dark corner of my family room, and it rarely receives any sunlight whatsoever on this back side here. So if you don't take these plants outdoors to enjoy the outdoor sunlight, then they are starved for lighting. Now this tray here sits on the floor close to the door where they're getting some light from the window there. So that's why they look in a little better condition than the others. So lighting is extremely important in the process. In that clip, you see, even if you got the right amount of water, if you are missing light, that's a problem. And those are all of my young seedlings that I had planned on putting in the ground in the next week or so. And I had been hardening them off outside to make sure that they were ready to go in the ground. But for the last week, they've been sitting in the dark. And I'm hoping I don't lose my brassicas and my onions since they were sitting in the dark for a week. But I'm hoping that the weather warms up here in the next week and I can go ahead and get them outside and try to quickly get them healthy again before they continue to die back. Now, if I lose my brassicas, which I hope I don't, I may have to go to the nursery and pick up a few plants. I don't want to. I've been growing my own food for a long time from seeds, and I don't want to have to pick up brassicas, but I will, in order to make sure I got a year's supply of brassicas and onions for my family. Now, some of those plants up there were lettuce plants like these, but I have a ton of them in here that did really well. So I usually like to give you an indoor garden update every couple of weeks or so. But after being away for a week and not having someone babying over my plants like I normally do, I figured I would take you on a brief garden tour before I start doctoring up and fixing everything. So let's look and see what's going on in the indoor grow spaces. The first thing I saw when I came back were my sweet potatoes. Look, they are getting some slips on them. There's one, there's another one right there. There's a little baby one in the back. So sweet potatoes are doing their thing. If you recall, I started 2 more pots of regular potatoes and they're coming up. They're green and they're healthy. There's another one right there. They're healthy. Now, I usually show you my green stalks last, but I'm going to show you my green stalks next because they're still doing very well and they're very happy. And I know they didn't get watered very well because my mother didn't do like I normally do. Make sure the pockets are nice and damp, make sure it runs out the bottom, but they hung on and they're healthy. So let me show you those next. In this green stalk here in the front, of course, this is where I have my lettuce. That lettuce is looking good. I have carrots. They survived. They're looking good as well. Some more lettuce on this side. Here's some bok choy that's coming in nicely. Here's a nice bok choy I just broke off. But my bok choy over here is going to seed, so we will take care of that in another video where I'm actually cleaning up my indoor grow space. I'm going to pull out all of my beans. I had already started removing them, getting some empty pockets down here on the bottom. I need to remove the rest of them, and the lettuce again up top. So the lettuce is very happy in this container. Now let's look at the GreenStalk back there. You see all those tomatoes from here? Tomatoes came in while I was gone, and Mom didn't get the ones down here. She ate the ones upstairs. So let's talk about this GreenStalk in the back. Now I have quite a bit of yellowing on this GreenStalk. I mean, quite a bit of yellowing. So I provided some fertilizer to this GreenStalk yesterday when I first got home. But even with the yellowing, the fruit is still coming in like crazy. I mean, I got peppers everywhere. There are peppers back here. And these are almost ready to pick. So there is my indoor GreenStalk of peppers. There's another one there that's about ready to pick. So I'm very happy with my GreenStalks. Those are doing really well, and most of my seedlings are doing well. So I will quickly scan by so you can see all the seedlings that's in my 5x5 grow tent. I've had a lot of people ask me about my lighting and about my grow tent. And there's a video out there, actually 2 videos out there that talks about my indoor setup. And here's a couple pictures of the cover pages for those 2 videos. And if you're interested in all of the details of how I'm set up, please check out those 2 videos. In the description below, there will be a link to the grow tent for sure. And there won't be a link to all the different lights because the list is really too long of everything that I have in my grow tent. But the links are in the 2 videos that I just talked about just a moment ago. But let me show you all of my seedlings. Down here is another flat of tomatoes. Now these we will be up potting in the next video or 2, and you see they did really well. They got watered, they have light, they have true leaves. They are happy, very, very happy. Same thing here. I have peppers, I have a few herbs in the front right here, a few collard greens right here in the front as well. And then the back, look at that beautiful lettuce. So we will have lettuce to transplant outdoors very soon. Moving on up, some more herbs are starting to come up. So this is basil. I also planted quite a few flowers just before I went out of town, and they've already broke ground back here, and they're doing well. The amaranth has already come up as well. Now, I don't know much about amaranth. Somebody asked me what kind of amaranth it is. I don't know. It was red. That's about all I know about the amaranth. Some of the marigolds didn't come up. Over here, this is the one heat mat that I have still going, and I have a few more peppers and I have more flowers on the heat mat. We will be up potting these very soon. Peppers back there. And then this is a tray of cool season crops. Different types of lettuces are in here, as well as a couple containers of Brussels sprouts. And these are green and healthy, so no issues from a fertilizing standpoint on these or the peppers. Another flat of peppers up here. Up potted them as soon as right before I walked out the door. So you're going to see many different sizes of peppers because I have been up potting now for, I don't know, maybe a week and a half prior to my business trip. And then here's some larger peppers as I'm coming on around here. These were some of the first ones that I up potted. Another container of lettuces that have been up potted and they're growing nicely. Now, everything wasn't perfect. I did lose a few items, or I decided to pull them out and give up on them. So there are about 3 containers here that were supposed to be flowers that never germinated. So no begonias this year and no easy wave white petunias. So I gave up on those 3. And I had 1 pot of potatoes that's been going now for, I'll just put it up right here, a long time. And I don't think we're going to get any potatoes, y'all. Let me show you the container. Here's that container of potatoes I was telling you about. At this point, I'm going to say that they have died back. And I've put my hands in this container and I didn't feel nothing. I don't believe there's any potatoes in here whatsoever. So in my next video, we're going to go ahead and empty that container. And if there are no potatoes in there, that's okay, because we will put some more in there so that we can get some started now to go outdoors. Let's head on over to those hydroponics, because that is what did extremely well over the last week. So let's go there next. Now it's very, very early in the morning. The sun hasn't even decided to join us yet today, but I am up and I am ready to take a look at everything, harvest, fixed, doctor, send people to the hospital, triage, whatever I need to do for my plants. So let me show you the hydroponics next. Y'all, look at my cucumbers. Look at the cucumbers. I have cucumbers growing indoors. Look at that. And these are little baby cucumbers. Here's the name of the type of cucumber that I have. And they can be picked at this stage and they're young, sweet, and tender. And so it looks like there's about 3, maybe 4 on this plant that's ready to be picked. Here, there's some little baby ones and they're very happy. And right beside it here, I have tomatoes coming in, and I harvested these tomatoes when I left. So this is a week's worth of growth that my daughter and mother didn't eat while I was gone. Before I left, I did harvest some tomatoes and some peppers and some lettuce for my mother to enjoy while I was gone. And she told me she fixed the most amazing off-season salad that she's ever had. And she said, I stole a couple cucumbers. So I know she's already enjoyed some of the cucumbers as well. That's honestly exactly what I expected her to do. But she had a salad with nothing but lettuce and tomatoes and onion and pepper and cucumbers that I grew. None of that store-bought stuff. And she was very happy with the salad and she said it was so good. And my one daughter does eat salads. And my mom says she tried to take all of the tomatoes. So we know that the lettuce and the salad making is on point. Now, one more quick view of the brassicas that are not happy. They're not happy at all. I'm going to get them outside today, get some sunlight on them. They have more than enough water, and honestly, she may have overwatered them. They may have been sitting in water because they are just too damp. There's no air movement in this room, but she didn't take them outside for them to continue enjoying the sunlight and the natural breeze. And this container, she did nothing to it whatsoever, nothing at all. On my Vigo Garden tomato rolling planter with trellis, she did nothing to this one. No water, no nothing, no sunlight. It's sitting in the dark. And your plants can't grow without sunlight. They won't grow without sunlight. You should not leave your plants in the dark for extended periods of time without some type of lighting. And so this one bit the dust. These are not going to come to the party this year, and we're going to have to add more plants into this container. That's okay. I have plenty of plants, so we'll just add more plants to this container very soon. So there'll be something happy and growing in here in the next couple of days at most. So we've learned some things. Your plants need water, obviously. And your plants need lighting. Whether we're talking shop lights, grow lights, sunlight, you can't leave your plants sitting in the dark. Leaving them in the dark, you're going to end up with this. And now I got to figure out if I can triage and save the plants that I've started that I was ready to put them outdoors. I hope you enjoyed this update of my oopses and things that are doing well. And if you did, give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I'm here. I'm going to be here. I'm going to keep these videos going. I'm not perfect, and I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So until next time, and I hope there will be a next time that you come back and spend time with me, Kim, at Kim's Cozy Corner. Bye.